everyone, I'm Matt, and welcome back to Toylytics, where we take a look at the analytical side of toy collecting. This video, we're headed to Outpost Zaxxius, where we're looking at the secondary market for the figures in that wave for the fourth quarter of 2024. Let's take a look at what figures were in that wave and when they were released. There they are right there. They went up for sale in April 2023 for pre-order, and then they were delivered in May 2024 with a retailer date of June 13th, 2024 as well. Remember, though, a few of these, Operative 83 and Scourge, the Masters tributes, were released at PowerCon in limited quantities at August 2023. So they're going to have a lot more sales over that longer time period than the other figures would. So let's take a look at the sales themselves. You can see that in the fourth quarter, still pretty strong sales here. I'm not sure why Operative 83 dropped off a little bit in comparison with some other quarters, but everyone else was, all the other figures were up over their third quarter lows for the most part, right? And Scourge significantly here was double. He sold double what he did in the third quarter, as well as Callie and Shun. She sold double what she did in the third quarter as well, which is kind of interesting to see. Looking at the figure sales per month, again, kind of ignoring all this PowerCon pre-sale here from May and beyond. We see the spike in June when they were first available for the most part, and then they've kind of settled into this range of somewhere between about 2 to 7 figures per character selling on a monthly basis. Looking at the average prices over the fourth quarter, these are just fourth quarter 2024 sales. The bar shows the average, the red or the orange dot shows the max price, and the blue dot shows the min price. So Scourge sold for an average of 73.05. Not surprising that he's the highest since he has the highest retail price. Spexy Mindworker is a deluxe figure with a higher retail price as well, so not surprising that he's next, although kind of surprising it's a little bit low there with 49.40 compared with the retail price of 60. And then we have the standard figures here selling all about the same prices here. So Operative 83 is 44.46, and then Callie and Chun, Altar Xylovius, and Tusk Pilot all selling for right around $42 or 42.50 or so. Okay. So in general here, again, similar pattern that we saw with the other Cosmic Waves. None of these are selling for retail price. All of them are selling for a discount there, but these in this case are closer to retail than some of the other ones in the Volcatar wave. Some of those were selling for even around the standard figures, for instance, $37 Horseman pre-order price. These are all selling for 42 at the lowest on average. So maybe a little bit higher prices here in general, but still not approaching that retail price. Looking at the average prices per quarter for each character, you can see that quarter 3 was the low point for all of these characters, and all of them have bounced back to higher average prices in quarter 4. So it'll be interesting to see if that pattern continues, if the prices continue to keep going up. Maybe that was, quarter 4 demand was generated through the holiday season, as well as Legion's Con, people seeing some of these figures for the first time in person, that sort of thing, and then determine that they did want to jump in and collect Cosmic Legions. Who really knows as far as that's concerned? But it would be interesting to keep an eye on it in first quarter 2025 and beyond to see if this pattern continues and the average prices keep increasing. Let's take a look at the individual figures here over time. We can see Altar Xylovius first. Here's that $50 retail price point. We can see one sale here in October at that $50 point, but everything else was below it. And in general, in the fourth quarter, we were seeing most of the sales between $40 and $45 for Altar Xylovius. Some of them back in September and October selling for around that $35 price, which is really good. But I'd say if you can get them for around $40, that would be probably where you want to shoot right now. Then we have Callie and Shun. Callie and Shun has a similar story here. So we have retail price of 50 again. A couple of them sold more recently for 50. Seems like her price, I don't know, maybe creeping up a little bit in comparison to what it was back in July and August. All the sales recently, we have a kind of a low point here of 37, but most of them again are between about $40 and $45. more recently, but again, not a whole lot of sales in November and December. So the ones that did sell, other than this one here, may have a little bit higher price here approaching retail. So if you want a Cali Chun and you see one for around $40 to $45, that's probably a pretty good price at this point. I doubt you're going to get much better than that moving forward. Now, Operative 83, this was one of the ones that was released back in at PowerCon. So you can see all those sales over there. And then you can see the more recent sales here too. And more recently, again, we have that retail price of 50 and not a whole lot of sales in the fourth quarter, but a lot of them were in that $40 to $45 range for the most part. Again, one sold a little bit higher at 58. But in general, most of them selling for about 40 to 45. So if you want three of these to display the three heads, you could probably pick one up for $40 to $45. Vaccine Mind Worker has a retail price of $60 because those vaccines are deluxe. One sold for right around 60 in December, but everything else sold somewhere between about 55 at the high end and I'd say about 43 or so at the low end. So in general here, if you want a Spexia Mine Worker, most of the sales are in that $43 to $55 range for Scourge. Again, higher price as well. We have that PowerCon original availability, but looking forward here, his retail price was 80, and we did have some sales here. So we had some, more than one sale here above that retail price of $80. So Scourge, if you see him, and basically from looking at October 1st here, we did see a few selling for that 65 to $60 here, but I'd say in general, for the most part, again, more recently, even in December, 65 and up is where he's been kind of settling. So if you see one for around 65 to 70, that may be the best you can do at this point. And then finally, although actually maybe I take that back, Scourge may have had a retail price of 75 again, right? So even potentially selling for higher than retail at $80 there. Not quite sure. I should have looked that up beforehand, but definitely either 75 or 80. I'm not quite sure which one. I know Kragner was 80, but I can't remember what Scourge is exactly. So anyway, regardless, I think if you see one for 65 to 70, that's probably going to be about as well as you're able to do at this point. And then we have the Tusk Pilot. Again, a lot of people like, I do too, like the paint job on him. That kind of cherry red really really shines and looks kind of stand out on the shelf there, at least in my displays. So we have $50 here at the retail price. Again, nothing recently sold for anywhere close to 50. Well, I guess I shouldn't say anywhere close. We had one sale here for 48, but in general, most of the sales are between about 45 and $40, as with most of these other standard figures. So, if you're looking for a Tusk Pilot, you still should be able to get one of him for somewhere around that $40 to $45 range. But again, very few sales here from November on below 40, right? So if are expecting to get them for below 40, I'm not quite sure you're going to be able to do that unless you want a used one at that point, which is fine, right? There's nothing wrong with a lot of loose figures, but if you want one, especially new, you probably are going to be looking at paying $40 to $45 here. And if you see one for 40, you may want to snatch it up because that seems to be about as low as he's going recently. So overall story here for the Outpost Zaxxius Wave. These figures seem to be a little bit higher priced in general on the secondary market in comparison to their retail price versus the Volcatar figures. A lot of those Volcatar figures are selling for around the Four Horsemen original pre-order prices. These, you're not seeing a lot of $37 sales for any of these figures. So I'm thinking maybe either the supply's less and or the demand is more, maybe a combination of the two as I suggested there. But in general, these may be the ones, this may be the first wave of figures that approaches and starts to exceed that retail price threshold as they start to sell out at a lot of retailers. So something to keep an eye on as we move into 2025. That's it for our look at Outpost Zaxxius. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please, like, subscribe, share, as everybody always says. If you have any suggestions for me or want to look at something in particular, want me to look at something in particular, let me know. I can either leave a comment, or you can reach out at toylytics@gmail.com, or I just changed my Instagram handle to Toylytics, so at Toylytics on Instagram. I'm looking to post some additional graphs and things in between videos as we move forward into 2025 as well. So give me a follow on Instagram as well if you want to keep an eye on some of those additional posts and graphs as we go in the future. Anyway, take care, and I will see you again soon.